piglins are coming! And we're going to talk a lot about those wee guys. But before we do, I should introduce not piglins, but a couple of the team members responsible for the highly anticipated Minecraft Legends.
It's been 5 months since the launch of Minecraft Legends, an action RTS co-developed between Mojang and Blackbird Interactive that wanted to bring Minecraft's world and style into a fresh new field of battle in the strategy genre. And this game was hyped. This game was hyped up unbelievably. I mean, I'm talking about at every games convention, multiple Minecraft live spots. Heck, it even made it onto the news when it launched. My dad texted me about this game. So it's suffice to say that this game, it had some push behind it. I mean, this is a game that Mojang bet some chips on with ads galore, and to this day they still have their launcher advertising with little animations to click over here and check out this game. A new age could dawn with this game. It would bring Minecraft's IP into a new space, fleshing out lore for the Minecraft universe with a deep dive into the Nether's history, adding another tentpole for Mojang's portfolio to appease the Microsoft gods. Okay, so that's a bit of hyperbole, but it could have been bringing a new studio some acclaim for Blackbird Interactive, so you better believe that this was a game that was backed to the hilt by studio and publisher, arguably by the industry too. So the game launched, fans scrambled, trailers ran, Minecraft Legends was here! With all the fanfare expected of a new title being launched with 3 million players? Wow! That's insane as a growth metric. People must love this game. So, how's it doing right now? Oh my god, what happened? So, Minecraft Legends hasn't exactly shaped up to be the industry darling that it seemed it would be, but it was definitely talked up a lot. Not just by the studio at Minecraft Live, but coverage for the game was widespread and really positive in the build-up to launch. The studios made a real effort to incorporate lots of convention press, Minecraft YouTubers, heck, they even got large platforms on side to hype up this game's launch. Okay, now admittedly, that last bit, well, it had its own problems, but that's a different story. When Minecraft Legends launched after this slowly building hype, this campaign with dedicated spotlights during the famed live shows and all this press, the reception it was met with was kind of a collective, critical meh. Now Minecraft Legends isn't a bad game. It's got some cool features, beautiful design work in the landscapes, and tries to actually innovate in a genre most people would consider dead or dying since about the mid-2000s. Yeah, not a dead genre, but certainly not at the heights it was in the past. In fact, the studio Blackbird Interactive even spoke on how they hope to breathe new life into the genre with their action-oriented style of RTS that pulls focus to a singular hero, providing orders to the rest of their army. Blackbird as a studio isn't new to the genre either. Their first games were all RTS games, so they come by it honest. But how truly innovative this creative choice was, well, we'll get back to that later. Regardless, the game knew what it was, and that it wanted to pioneer forward a new path in this genre. And many critics were hopeful for just that, wishing to see Legends as this glorious new RTS that would take center stage for the new decade of the 2020s and lead to a revitalization of the real-time strategy game. And that's not to say that the genre is truly dead. I mean, turn-based strategy is arguably at a new height every day for popularity, but Minecraft Legends was seen as a more hopeful new gateway for new faces. People to find the RTS genre through this IP, and with an IP like Minecraft attached, I mean, this could be a huge deal. But this hope for breathing new life into the genre and revitalizing it, bringing in new faces, well, it all seemed to have dried up really quickly as reviews poured in. Actually, poured in is a bit too strong of a word. It was more of a trickle. At the time of recording this game actually only still has 35 PC reviews, 2 on PS5, 2 for the Nintendo Switch, and only 1 Xbox One review. It does, however, have a sturdy 64 reviews for the Xbox Series X, but that kind of underscores a different issue that we'll circle back to later as well. First though, we gotta talk about
does the culture of Vancouver show itself in Minecraft Legends? It's a really tough question.
Now, I can't answer that question. Like you said, it's tough, but I do think that news clip is relevant to understanding how the developers of this game saw the game as they went about making it. Minecraft Legends wanted to breathe new life into the RTS genre for decades to come, but when you dig deep into the game itself, did it really offer anything that revolutionary, that creative? The basic mechanics of Minecraft Legends are quite simple. I mean, you're a mounted unit that constantly needs to maneuver around, rallying overworld mobs to the cause of defense from piglin invasion. You have golems that specialize in structural damage, healing, crowd control, and range, and creeps that do much the same. You spawn these units in using musical melodies and fill them with the flame of creation. In effect, this is your unit population cap. Gather up the troops you've spawned in, send them in to fight the piglins, rinse, repeat. Some additional features of note are the resource gathering and structure building allays, blue and yellow respectively, that serve as tools to make bridges across chasms, stairs to climb into forts, and let you build army spawn stations, defenses, and more. For anyone familiar with the genre, these are fairly standard mechanics given a new coat of paint. The gimmick Legends brought in to liven up the process is you. You get some level of customization on what you want the protagonist to look like based on this bevy of battlers, and then you're off. You meet the gods Minecraft, learn some basic mechanics, learn the existential threat to the rest of the world, see a bunny get got. Wait. Back up. You meet the gods of Minecraft? Okay, lore aside, we'll put a pin in that. This rudimentary story serves as the background to your militant campaigns and battles, not uncommon at all in an RTS genre. Having a protagonist isn't terribly odd either. In fact, hero units are relatively common. However, the protagonist here does cause some problems, namely that it isn't a pure RTS, so the hybrid model they're going for seems to kind of be the root cause of issues with this game. The way that this works is that amongst the tactical management of your forces, you sally forth as well. You ride with them into battle and can even swing your own weapon. It's a real effort to immerse the player into the world and add a new, engaging element to an RTS genre. And this is not entirely unheard of. I mean, similar mechanics are found in games like Mountain Blade and Bannerlord to name a few, but it seems to create an identity issue for this game, as you have this weird, rather bland action-adventure experience of hacking away at these mobs mixed into your real-time strategy. In some ways, this hack and slash adds a sense of engagement that makes up for the simplistic strategy elements of the game, as you have very little control over troops in terms of grouping, tactics, and orders. Unlike other titles in this genre, you really only control the group around you, and can only really order them to go attack X or Y's general area or the structure there. It's a simple strategic setup. This does remove the barrier for entry that newcomers to the genre may be put off by, but it leaves the game lacking for anyone who did want this to be an in-depth strategy game. A sense of self is missing from the game. I mean, I'd go so far to say that Minecraft Legends is just so utterly ordinary in all of its efforts that nothing shines. But the game's not bad. I mean, it has fantastic art style and direction, its gameplay is tight if a bit devoid of life for the most part. I mean, there's no glitches or glaring errors, but it lacks anything of substance to draw the player in. If this game didn't have Minecraft's IP to lean into, I mean, it would lose all feeling of originality. Okay, that's harsh. That's maybe a bit too far. I really think the game is a good effort, even a diamond in the rough in some ways. But it's not an unfounded point, and I think that reflects in the reception that this game gets post-launch. I mean, look at the first dev update labeled a major update. At the time of recording this, it only has 125,000 views in a month. And that might seem like a lot. I mean, it's certainly more than I've ever gotten, but it's quite literally one of the worst performing videos on the Minecraft official channel since the delay of Cobalt. For a game that just came out a matter of months ago, less than half a year, which supposedly is a popular game with millions of players, or rather millions of downloads, this is not a good sign for longevity of the game. This is not a story-oriented game either. It's not designed to be a one-and-done playthrough. The genre of RTS is inherently built on replayability.
If you destroy the opponent's base, you win.
More so than most any other game genre.
The big Minecraft Legends update is out.
We have a lot of big changes in here based on your player feedback.
So a major developer update video like this should be sparking interest, getting attention, bringing players back if they had fallen off of the game. When you think about a healthy player base, even Minecraft Dungeons, a game recently announced to be at the end of its life, saw nearly double the viewership of this update video in only 9 days. And that was just for the celebratory video of Dungeons having hit a 25 million lifetime player base. Not new content, not future plans, just a corporate celebratory video. A major update announcement for your game? boosted by the fact that that video came out the same week as Minecraft Live's announcement, should not be outperformed by videos about Minecraft Nerf World DLC and the story of the bed thief. This developer update is a notable one too, though. I mean, it touches on some of the core issues with the game and its lack of identity. The update covers reworking strategic UI to be more of a top-down experience, allowing recall for mobs so that you can better organize your armies, pathfinding. The game didn't release broken by any means, but what was there was just unappealing for the genre of strategy and needed to be reworked, and that's pretty evident. But even with that said, I don't think the game is the true problem here. As a matter of fact, I think that the game is a bit of a sleeper. I think it enjoys a good amount of popularity amongst kids, a demographic that this game is certainly aimed towards, trying to bring them into the RTS genre of games, and as a game overall, I think Minecraft Legends has something under the surface that can be a really fun experience. What I think is the true kryptonite of this game is how it was released, or rather, where it was released.
Out here, you make your own luck.
That's right, Game Pass. The somewhat divisive Xbox money printing machine, supposedly. Minecraft Legends is pretty, well, dead on Steam. In fact, its active player base is lower than most any game I can find data on. By a lot. I looked at good games, bad games, old games, new games, and nothing is quite like Minecraft Legends' active player base. Alright. Almost nothing. But that can't be. Minecraft Legends is a huge success. I mean, it had 3 million players in 10 days. Well, that is an internal stat that we don't have a lot of corroboration on. I mean, I don't think it's unlikely though, or exactly a lie per se. I just think this is a number that is disingenuous and is based on downloads via Game Pass. Okay, so the downloads were on Game Pass. Why is that an issue? Well, it's not. Or, well, it is, but it's more of an issue for gaming in general. You see, Game Pass is the current best deal in gaming. I mean, you can get access to countless titles for a relatively low monthly subscription that lets you download and play any game your heart desires from the list with no commitment to the product. So you can try games and determine if you like them enough to actually buy them, or play through the full story and never need to buy the game at all. For the consumer, this is a fantastic deal. I can't argue against that, and I believe it can actually help make some studios feel the need to release a complete, or at least not broken, game. The trouble comes in for indie developers and even some mid-sized studios. The exact breakdown in profit is not publicly known for how much a studio makes from Game Pass, but it doesn't take a genius to know that a monthly subscription of $15 per person undercuts the games sold at retail between $40 to $60 per person. This model just doesn't pay out as much to studios, and it's therefore unsustainable, especially for the AAA market. Phil Spencer himself has even recognized this, admitting that major studios are staring down a barrel, and survival for these companies is starting to come into question. And the thing is, by bringing forward this question of survivability to these studios, services like Game Pass could actually be argued to even be killing creativity in gaming. For example, a publicly traded company needs to justify itself to its shareholders constantly to prove that it's not only profitable, but that it's going to have growth in profit year over year. Now, the viability of that economic model is a whole different video, but the important takeaway is that a company needs to constantly be able to point to a product so that they can say,
"See, Mr. Bucks Aplenty and Council of Doom, I mean benevolent shareholders who participate in this totally just and fair system that is late-stage capitalism. See, this product is selling like hotcakes. We've moved millions of units and thus have locked in a loyal consumer base that will continue to give us profit."
That kind of promise to shareholders is difficult, if not impossible, to make when all you have to point to justify your claim is download numbers. Because a download is not a commitment towards the product, and because it isn't a unit sold. You didn't pay specifically for this game, just for the service of Game Pass, and it's not an equivalent number. It can't provide a rock-solid stat of income generated to shareholders. That presents a real problem and makes the likelihood that a studio will take risks on new IPs and game ideas very low. How can a small dev team justify their game as a proof of concept for their studio to a publisher when there's no units sold to show? The download isn't even a commitment to play the game, nor is it a guarantee that a user is participating in alternative revenue streams like in-game microtransactions or Battle Pass content. Not to say that those are good things, but that they're relevant when speaking about the business side of game development. How does this tie into Minecraft Legends though? Well, the lack of true commitment or incentivized commitment that Xbox Game Pass creates for a player means a lot of players will never give give Legends much more of their time beyond a cursory look. Players feel no need to get their money's worth out of the title, and are therefore less likely to stick with it and discover the quirks and peculiarities that the game has to offer, that diamond in the rough. This might sound like a silly argument. I mean, it's absolutely fair to expect that a developer made a game that is gripping enough to make you want to play it and not feel the need to slog out the time in the game to get your money's worth. Developers should respect a player's time, after all, but there is something to be said for playing through a game because it's all you had available, having a lack of options forcing you to spend time with a game to get to know it better and to develop a cult following for that title. Anyone who grew up with video games being a rarity, so to speak, that you got for your birthday or a holiday and didn't have much of an option to get new games often, can probably relate to that concept. You got the most out of the game you were given. For the longest time, this was its own cottage industry in gaming, and I think it's something sorely missed when Game Pass enters the picture, because you don't have to play the game if it doesn't instantly appeal to you. You can always find something new, something different, so the game then has no players, develops no cult following, and it's dead on arrival. The problem with this is that it leads to a system where any game release has to be a big hit or it dies on the vine. The middle of the road game can't survive in this market. A game that isn't bad but isn't instantly popular becomes no longer viable from a corporate perspective. And I get that a monetary outlook shouldn't be what decides whether or not a game gets funded or not, but it's kind of a reality of the industry. Why do you think Ubisoft keeps making Far Cry and Assassin's Creed games? If you don't believe me, look no further than the movie industry. We see the same thought process being played out just half a decade earlier. The mid-range movie is relatively dead. If you aren't making a blockbuster or an awards movie, a studio won't fund you. But the mid-range movie wasn't killed because of the success of blockbusters. I mean, we've had successful blockbusters at the movie theaters since the 1970s with Jaws and Star Wars. It's not because the mid-range movie doesn't make as much money as a blockbuster at the movie theaters, it's because the ancillary market is dead. The bulk of the money that those mid-range movies made never came from the box office at the theaters, it was all from the DVD sales. And because streaming doesn't and will not provide as lucrative an ancillary market, which makes it difficult for a new director or production team to prove the value that their movie or show had. They have no analytics to prove how an audience received their work. I mean, that's one of the main points of what the Hollywood writer and now actor strikes are about. So in the gaming industry, where every game needs to be a top seller to justify itself to the studio shareholders, you see a loss of risk and creative vision in favor of playing it safe, making studios only want to make what they know will sell well. And you don't have to take it from me, the industry knows this. Heck, there's a leaked email from Phil Spencer himself that comments on how most publishers are writing the success of franchises created 10 plus years ago because they can't risk making anything else. Minecraft Legends stands as this perfect example then of a studio trying something new, uplifting the smaller studio of Blackbird Interactive with a major IP like Minecraft, and promptly failing to launch. And it's not because the game is bad. I mean, it can be a little bland, sure, but because Game Pass as a release let the wind out of its sails. Game Pass put Minecraft Legends out and it let it wither and die on the vine, well before it was ever given the chance to grow. Minecraft Legends is not, by any means, a failure. It does have a player base, and while that base is a bit scattered, and perhaps it's made up of less people than Microsoft would let on, there are still some dedicated fans. Proof enough of that is that the project's not been abandoned. I'm sure we'll see lots more of Legends at Minecraft Live this year, and I'm very excited to hear what exactly they plan to do next. But what I will say is that it does seem that where Minecraft Legends has stumbled is in accomplishing what it set out to do. Their efforts to make a new RTS for a new generation. Because while I don't think they're floundering, it is of note that this week news came out regarding the next major step forwards for Legend, all of which will revolve around minigames in the Minecraft Myths. Myths could be their own video, but basically, Minecraft Legends introduced Myths as a player-made DLC back in July of 2023, and it came across as, well, a bit of a panicked response. I mean, I can't be positive about that, and it's not like I think Myths were never gonna happen otherwise, but it is odd that a game focused on in every featurette, ad, behind-the-scenes coverage, and interview as a brand new RTS, and a game seeking to change strategy games as a genre has changed gears now to focus on pay-to-play minigames, all that are supposedly made by the player, but, well, those tools haven't actually really been given to players yet. It's not unlike paid DLC on Bedrock. But why this sudden departure and embracement of these easy money minigames? Well, who's to say, but I think I'm gonna be watching with bated breath for this Minecraft Live to see if Legends still has any life to it as a strategy game, or to see if the launch of Legends has condemned it to Game Pass and has made it little more than a footnote in the RTS genre, as it begins to refocus as a software to build arcade games in. Who knows? I'm hopeful. I just think, for a game that already had an identity crisis, It's lost the last semblance of identity it had. But who knows where we'll be. Until next time, thanks for watching.